Right, annual underspends.
But spending in the health service in Scotland has doubled in the last 10 years. Spending on health service in Scotland...
Because there was no spending in the first 2 years when Labour got elected in 1997. We all know that. They kept the Tory spending limits.
They did.
They kept the finances
It wasn't
tight.
a popular move, but it was important to build stability into the economy, and we've reaped the benefits since.
In the health service.
It would be a lot easier. I mean, I'm quite happy for you to respond, but do you think I could put a point across first, and then I'm quite happy for you to respond?
Of course you can, mate. Let you go.
Spending on health in Scotland has doubled under Labour. It is now £10 billion a year, £2,000 per head. There's been significant improvements there. We're not going to transform everything overnight, but the evidence that is there in the cuts in the waiting times, huge cuts in the waiting times. We no longer have people waiting 6 and 9 months for treatment. The evidence is there in the improvements in survival rates from coronary heart disease, from cancer, from stroke, from the huge increase in operations that are being carried out in the Scottish Health Service. It is being delivered, it is getting better, and the good thing is that now there is this extra funding, we are beginning to think laterally about health and go beyond the basics of it.
But can I ask you something, Doug?
Service.
In that case, because I was reading some stuff that Jack McConnell had talked about just prior to the election, and he was saying that the waiting lists, he says, are under control enough that we could now look to a well-being agenda for health. Now, why isn't that in your manifesto? Can I, Alan?
In Angus only 2 or 3 months ago.
Alan, wait a wee second. Why isn't that majored on in your manifesto then?
Well, I think, the focus...
Is it too politically dodgy for you to say waiting lists are sorted?
Well, I think what we do see in the manifesto is that health isn't just about the National Health Service. Health is about a lot of other issues.
Can I just say to you, every single one of the... Can I just say, every candidate would say that.
Yeah.
What we need to hear from people to differentiate your positions is where you've realised something as a result of being in government and had the courage to come up and diagnose, you know, triage, political triage. You're at the front line.
Politics isn't about differentiating your position. It should be about doing the right thing. Surely.
Okay. So in that case, everyone in the audience could kind of, I mean, we can all say that what we need is a varied kind of health service provision. What I'm asking is, when will Labour have the courage to switch resources from the battle to try and make it seem that our health waiting lists are under control to the kind of well-being agenda that we're talking about here?
It's a question of priorities. I think it was absolutely vital that we get the waiting times down.
Okay,
and
Mary?
if you asked anybody who was waiting 6 months for an operation...
But you've done it.
You're
telling us that you've done it.
If you stop bombing Iraq,
I think it's very important to say, Doug mentioned 10 billion is the health budget. The Scottish Association for Mental Health accurately forecast that mental health issues cost the country £8.6 billion a year. So if they got mental health right, so much else would be right. But the point is that the Lib Lab Coalition had 3 clinical priorities in 1999. For 8 years there's been 3 clinical priorities: cancer, heart and mental health. Now, to be fair, they have made inroads into cancer and heart, waiting times, etc. But mental health does not come under the Waiting Times Initiative. You can still wait 3 years to see a psychologist. And I know, working in the Highlands, where the suicide rate is so high, many people can't wait 3 years and they simply take their life with their own hands. So mental health is still the Cinderella service. They do not give it the resources that it needs. But when you ask anyone, they say it's very difficult to measure mental health. You can measure people recovering from cancer, recovering from heart, but I think they need to do more about measuring, and I think that's just an excuse. But this executive, yes, I give them credit for heart disease and cancer, but mental health, they have simply forgotten about it.
Okay, Mark, can I just say, if people have got points to make, I know it's hot in here and we've opened all the doors to try and make it a bit airier for you. Stay awake, people, and respond. I need to see when you want to ask questions, and please do.
Okay, yeah. I hope people can hear me. I'm actually losing my voice, so I could do with perhaps some treatment here. I think that, you know, I'm all for switching money away from Trident nuclear weapon systems and putting that into the NHS. I mean, you know, come on, I think most of us are, apart from the Tories and Labour here, and I'm not sure about Lib Dems, but, you know, look, the issue here is about the NHS spiralling out of control. Unless we actually get to grips with preventing ill health and having well-being in our society, the costs of the NHS are going to go up and up and up. And a focus on waiting times is the wrong approach. We need to put lots more money into public health. We need to put lots more money into community projects that are actually promoting well-being in our communities and actually value what those projects are doing. I go to NHS board meetings and I see people from the NHS actually not understanding the true value of those projects. We need to get a grip on what those projects are providing and then adequately fund those projects so they can continue to do that work. And that's why the Greens are calling for a national strategy and proper rules of engagement for community health projects working with the NHS.
Right.